And welcome back to the Cover 3 podcast here on CBS Sports. That's Tom Fornelli, that's Bud Elliott, that's Danny Cannell. I'm Chip Patterson, coming to you live at youtube.com/cover3 and everywhere you get your podcasts on demand. Thanks for hanging out. Smash that subscribe, smash that like, and come and join us in the chat, a.k.a. the Cover 3 Tailgate, where they know that this episode of the Cover 3 podcast is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more, because this is an extra special edition of the Cover 3 Locks. That's right. We're coming to you Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern time in advance of championship week. Why Wednesday? Well, because all of us are going to be back together again. Indianapolis Big Ten Championship. You can catch us on CBS Sports Network on Friday from 12 to 2. We're going to be inside the stadium. We'll be lounging on some comfortable furniture brought to you by our friends at Wayfair. You know, we're excited about this. But Danny, do you know what else I'm excited about? Bud, do you know what? Do you guys know? Do you guys know what I'm really excited about? Because this is going to be cool.
Wayfair?
On December 6th, like, that'll be awesome. But we've been hinting at it. We've been talking about it. Because you've got an opportunity. You, right there. You listening, you watching, all of it. We want you to come and hang out with us. We want you to come and join the Cover 3 crew for the first ever in-person show in Fort Worth. Here's the deal. Okay, so it's going to be like right around the Cotton Bowl. It'll be the night of the Orange Bowl, and you are going to come join us at Tannehill's Tavern and Music Hall on Thursday, January 9th. You can be a part of the big game breakdown as we dig into the college football playoff semifinals, and we will be there in the Fort Worth Stockyards getting ready. So if your team makes it all the way to the Cotton Bowl semifinal, come and see us. If you just want to come and hang out with us in an awesome venue, Tannehill's Tavern and Music Hall, come and see us. We'll have a sicko mode Q&A. We'll have an Orange Bowl watch party so that we can watch the action on the big screen. And the Cover 3 tailgate getting together is going to be the absolute best. And here is the really good news for you. Free 99. That's how much it costs. All you got to do is RSVP. If you were watching on YouTube.
What was that price?
Free 99.
Free 99.
Free 99. That's right. That's all. It is free 99. All you got to do is RSVP, and your name will be on the list, and you can come and hang out with us. There is a QR code on the screen. If you go to youtube.com/cover3, in the description of this video, there is a link for you to RSVP. If you go to your favorite podcast platform, in the description of this episode, there is a link to RSVP in advance. We'll also be spreading the word on all of our different social channels. We'll continue to spread the word over the course of the next month. We have been working on trying to do a Cover 3 podcast live show for months, maybe even years, if you want to like really build this out.
Decades.
So we are so excited to finally do it again. Thursday, January 9th, Tannehill's Tavern and Music Hall in the Fort Worth Stockyards. Come and hang out, be a part of our show. Watch the Orange Bowl with us all the day before the Cotton Bowl playoff semifinal.
Why wasn't I told about any of this?
Tom will be there. He didn't even know about it, and he's going to be there. Isaac, Fort Worth native here. My jaw just dropped. You live 5 minutes away. Let's go. Yeah, this is Isaac. We better see you there. We are fired up. Everybody come out and join us. I think because we've been spending some time on the road and we've been meeting up with a lot of, Cover 3 fans that have come out. I can't wait for all y'all to get together, right? I think it'll just be like a cool community of all the tailgaters getting to hang out. The Cover 3 tailgate live again Thursday, January 9th. Hit that QR code on the screen. What you laughing about, bud?
Some of the solitary confinement comments here from this beautiful podcast studio down in Lauderdale.
I was wondering when you said everybody can meet up, I wonder if there'll be like factions, like the Cannell haters, Chip's gang, like he's got his crew. Fornelli's got like a Big Ten squad. Bud's got his crew. Like they'll be like separated. We'll make sure we keep it all together though. Keep them all mingling.
Well, yeah, we'll have flag planting. A flag planting contest is a great call as something that we can do. But yeah, this is the first time that we've really jumped into this. I think we're the first ever podcast to do a live show.
Probably.
I think
what a crazy idea.
I know it's a wild idea. We're really breaking boundaries here. A podcast doing a live show, but we're excited about it. And again, please come and hang out. It is free. All you got to do is RSVP to get your name on the list. One more piece of a thank you, because that was a gift, obviously, for everybody in the Cover 3 tailgate, but it's been a gift for us. Y'all seen the Spotify Wrapped starting to trickle out? Man.
Yes.
Love it. Love to see all of the support that we've gotten. Please share on your social channels, your Spotify Wrapped. I mean, we have already started to see huge gains across the board in Spotify. It is a platform that has embraced not only the podcast on the audio side, but on the video side as well. Because of the Cover 3 listeners, according to Spotify, 79% of the audience watched video on Spotify as well. So you guys are growing. We are continuing to grow. Feel free to go ahead and share all those ones, especially the ones where we're number one. But, no judgment. Everybody's got their own interests, but we love to see all that. Continue to share it, and we will as well. All right. That's any other housekeeping type items we got? I mean, Bud is not being held captive. He is in Fort Lauderdale at the CBS Sports HQ studios. Bud, you want to tell the people how to catch you on signing day throughout the day?
Yeah. So on the 24/7 Sports YouTube page, you can check us there. We'll also be on some CBS HQ. I don't know if we're on network or not. I just read the prompter and then give my thoughts on some prospects. But you can catch me there from 1 to 4:30ish, and then Chip, I think I'll catch you at 5:15 for a little Cover 3 recap of signing day as well. So it should be pretty solid. And I'll try to talk into the mic. Also, I'm excited to go to Indy. I'm excited to see you guys. If they suddenly said, hey, Bud, can we do this from Lauderdale where it's 67 today?
It's chilly.
Opposed to, I don't know how to, I'm built for cold weather, but I'm not really built for cold weather. You know what I'm saying? Like fat and hairy, but not actually, I don't. That's a different kind of mitochondria that you need some history, you need some years for that. I don't have that.
What do you?
Mitochondria.
You know what I mean? How your body adjusts to something over time,
Yeah.
You throw me out middle of summer, 7-on-7 tournaments, 100. I've got that. I don't think
our blood's a little thinner.
Yeah,
as we continue to age too.
For Nelly, I ain't built that different, but for weather wise, I think it's a real.
I did a live show in Madison last week. It was 20 degrees. I didn't have a hat on. I didn't have gloves on. Richard and Jacqueline sitting there shivering next to me, and I'm just like, "Oh, this is a nice day."
Yeah, you've got it. All right. So this is a lock show. We don't have a robust set of games, but we are going to certainly work our way through all these different championship games. And then if we've got time at the end, maybe hit on some of the coaching carousel, portal buzz, just some of the lingering news stuff. So let's begin, as we always do, with a look back at the week that was. But it was a 6-4 week for you. You cashed in on the Miami Bowling Green under 40.5, the Minnesota plus 2.5, LSU minus 5.5, Rice plus 5.5, Baylor plus 1.5, FIU minus 8. The only losses were Tulane first quarter minus 3.5, Oklahoma State plus 16.5, Georgia Tech, Georgia under 54.5, Miami minus 10.5, and that's it. 6-4 on the week. What are we taking away?
Okay, so I think all the wins were pretty rocking chair easy, so that was good. I will say, shouts to the Middle Tennessee kicker for finally missing. He's been pretty good this year, not on that final drive, and they were trying to cut it to a one-score game. So I guess I got a little lucky there. Tulane's an annoying loss because Tulane hit the deep shot that I thought they might try early on Memphis, because Memphis safeties are pretty gettable. And the problem was they actually gave up a touchdown as well instead of just field goal. I figured if we get 7-3, that's a nice little thing. I don't bet a lot of first quarter favorites for various math reasons. Oklahoma State plus 16.5, that's terrible. Good God, I don't know what I was thinking there. Georgia Tech, Georgia under 54.5. I don't hate that based on what I could have known pregame, I think. But when Georgia Tech lost all three of their corners mid-game and Tech got up, so it's kind of a passing game script for Georgia. I knew I was pretty cooked there. You would think if Georgia got up nice.
Oh,
no.
Uh-oh.
A mute button got him.
A mute button got him.
wow, it's not even.
And in Miami, I was feeling pretty good. Also, I've lost comms on my AirPods, so I'm going to see if I can switch to speaker comms here. This actually happened to me 3 years ago in the Lauderdale office, and it was Patagna. All right, I think I got you all back. It was the day that Harbaugh was flirting with the Vikings, and I had to host the entire segment with Patagna, who had never done television before, with no comms for like 30 minutes. And like 12 minutes in, I'm like, there ain't no way that they still want me to talk Harbaugh, right? Like we're not doing a 15-minute Harbaugh segment on HQ. So, yeah.
But nobody.
Thank you. I'm back.
All right.
No, because it was dead. They finally started talking to Cooper on set. It was cool.
So a 6-4 week for Bud has him at 69-73 for the season. It was a 9-5 week for me. The wins were Colorado team total over 41.5, Miami Bowling Green under 40.5, Georgia Tech first half plus 10.5, SMU minus 13.5, Notre Dame team total over 30.5, South Carolina plus 2.5, the Texas A&M first half under 24.5, Oregon minus 18.5, Missouri minus 3. The losses were Ohio State third quarter minus 5.5, the Iowa Nebraska over 39.5, the Auburn team total over 20.5, Kansas minus 1.5, and then Army UTSA over 54.5. No real regrets. I would say that my lingering memory of the weekend was how proud I was with my Friday card, that all of the bets that I had were exactly what I wanted to be doing with my Black Friday, that I wanted the Buffs to score a bunch of points, that I wanted the under to hit in Miami Bowling Green, and that I was going back to the well with Iowa, Nebraska overs. And look, I didn't cash them all. Georgia Tech first half as well in there, but I at least was comfortable with the decisions I had made, comfortable with the results as a result of that. So 9-5 for the week has me at 93-83 for the season. Danny was a 10-10 week for his 20-pick card. The wins were Memphis plus 14, Colorado minus 16.5, Ohio minus 15, Iowa, Nebraska under 39.5, Syracuse plus 11, Miami, Syracuse over 67.5, Baylor plus 1.5, USC, Notre Dame over 51.5, Georgia Tech plus 19.5, and the Iron Bowl under at 53. The losses were Boise minus 19, Vanderbilt plus 11.5, Clemson minus 2.5, Auburn plus 11.5, USC plus 7.5, Ohio State minus 20.5, Tennessee Vandy under 48.5, Florida State first half plus 7.5, Texas A&M plus 5.5, and a push on Stanford plus 3 in a kind of a thrilling Friday afternoon game between San Jose State and Stanford. Old Bay Area rivalry right there. Danny, thoughts on the 10-10 week?
Who wants to fight? Who wants to fight? 4-1 in my fights. That's what I'm looking for now.
It's called regression to the mean.
Mano. That's what I'm looking for this week.
Here, let's see Danny's record in fights this year. He's 6-8 against me. He's 5-7 against Bud, but he is 7-5 against Chip.
Hey,
all right. Danny, 7-5 in fights against me. Danny, 75-95 overall on the season. All right. 10-10 has him at 75-95. Tom, it was a 20-pick card for you as well. Memphis, Tulane. The wins were Memphis, Tulane over 55.5. Oklahoma State, Colorado under 65.5. Mississippi State plus 26.5. Cal, SMU under 57.5. Texas A&M under 48.5. South Carolina plus 2.5. Illinois Northwestern over 43.5. Duke Wake Forest under 54.5. The losses were Iowa, Nebraska over 39.5, Minnesota, Wisconsin over 43, Oklahoma plus 6, Miami, Syracuse under 67.5, USC, Notre Dame under 52, Auburn plus 11.5, Arkansas plus 3.5, Army, UTSA over 54.5, Michigan, Ohio State over 43.5, Pitt, BC under 49.5, Purdue, Indiana under 56.5, and Kansas State, Iowa State over 51.
Pretty fair week, honestly, with the results. The only ones that just kind of hurt was the Kansas State Iowa State over due to the missed kicks and just the end of that game where I think it was Kansas State had like a 1st and goal at the 6 and came away empty, and I ended up losing by a point. Other than that, pretty much everything was fair. Nothing to feel too bad about. Had to take a lot of shots, hoping I can keep the heat going from last week to get back into it. Couldn't do it.
8-12 has Tom at 85-96 for the season. Okay. And I'll say, like, as a quick note here, it's my fault. You know, I brought a spray the board attitude that I think has gotten us a little lost. You know, I think that a lot of the feedback that we've heard from the audience was that as everybody's trying to unload their 20-pick card, the show kind of gets a little off the rails, hard to follow. They're called locks. Okay. So I've only got 15 picks for this 9-game slate. And I ask you, gentlemen, y'all ready to lock it up?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Since 2005, the under in games between service academies is 40-9-1.
We're picking locks.
Give me an over in this one as well. A little 2-for-1 special.
Don't get these locks.
I was a sicko last week. Y'all were watching the good games. I was live betting the hell out of ULM Kentucky.
My blue plate special 5-star locks are coming.
5-star master lock. Lock it
You
up.
want these locks.
I'm living and dying every point, every cover.
From the locking chair to your eyes and ears, let's take this chronologically, which means on Friday, trio of games. First, let's start with Cayusa. You can catch this game on CBS Sports Network. Western Kentucky at Jacksonville State. Interesting because these two teams played 1 week ago. It was a 19-17 point Western Kentucky win to set up this matchup. So between the Toppers and the Gamecocks, I ask, who's got a lock?
Do we have any Tyler Huff info, bud?
So I made it 3-57, kind of trying to split the baby, assuming he's banged up at least.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know anything new on that. Maybe I can find it out, but during the show, we'll see.
You can take it?
All
No,
Lamb with
wait,
Jacksonville State.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
All Lamb.
3.5.
It's one of those games, too. I mean, they did not show anything last week, and they still rushed all over Western Kentucky on the road. Western Kentucky had everything to play for to get to this game, barely eked it out. I think Jacksonville State gets it done this one. Obviously, if Tyler Huff plays, I feel much better about it. If he doesn't, a little bit worried about Logan Smothers. He's not quite the same QB as Huff is with 2,000, 1,000 guy, one of only 3 in the country. But I will still back Jacksonville State.
Go ahead. Are you fighting or are you agreeing?
No, I've got a comment on it. I'm not going to throw a lockdown on this particular one. What about you?
My lock is, and this could just be purely anecdotal, but like in a situation like this where you tend to see a rematch the week later, under 58. I mean, you could argue that they were kind of holding some stuff back last week, and that's possibly true, but they're also very familiar with one another now. And I just think that that's better for the defenses usually than it is for the offenses. So under 58.
Things that I took note of from the first game. Western Kentucky moved the ball well, but couldn't score. I mean, that's a daggum. Let's see, 1, 2. That's a four field goal effort on the way to winning. Second thing is like the old. You mentioned the defenses. The old line about Lincoln. Gary Patterson said about Lincoln Riley, it's tough enough to go against him once. You give him a second crack at you, it's nearly impossible. I wonder if that might apply to Rich Rod as well, though obviously our injury concerns are going to be, at the top of mind for that. I lean Jacksonville State, and I lean Jacksonville State's offense maybe having a little bit more success. They're playing at home. They got the better run game. I lean Gamecocks there, though officially not a lock for the show. Tulane.
So now wait, there's only 8 games left and you've got 15 left.
I don't have 15. Mikey can test me on this one. I think in terms of potentials, I sent him 10, 11, 12. I sent him 13 potentials, but I've identified, a couple as the best bets, a couple 2-for-1 specials.
Cautious chip.
Tulane at Army, Mikey Stadium, Friday night. Who's got a lock? All right, give me Army. Army, no 6s left, right? We're just doing 5.5. Best number?
Yeah.
All right, I'll do Army plus 5.5. I big vibes play here that sort of came out organically on the Big Game Breakdown as we looked up the West Point weather for what it's going to be like. And we're like, oh man, it's gonna suck to tackle in this weather. It's going to really test your want to for those Louisiana boys being up there in West Point, New York, playing at night right there on the water. I think that Army is going to have a decent chance to win this game. 5.5. I like the rhythm there. The concern, however, because this is a 2-for-1 special, John Summerall against the option. Shut out Navy earlier this year, even back at Troy when he went up against teams with option principles. He had a good game plan. He's a great defensive tactician. So on the other side of the 2-for-1 special, shocker to no one, I'm going to go Tulane Army under 45.5.
I'll get you 46.5 because I like you.
Oh, thanks.
And let the children sing on the under. Same exact reasons. Weather's cold. It's one thing to tackle a team that throws it around a lot, but when they are running at you and coming at your legs and just one after the next, it gets old. It gets tiresome. But I think they'll be able to do that. I lean your way with Army, but I think the under is the best play.
Lay it.
Ooh.
Fight.
I think Army's kind of bullshit, to be honest. Like,
clip.
I'm not saying Tulane is great, but I don't think that Army's pass defense is any good at all, and I do trust Tulane with those guys to go out and score a pretty good bit. Like you said, Summerall faced Army twice in his tenure at Troy. The one time was a complete nonsense game. That, like, I guarantee you that staff was not excited to play at all, like to play Army in the middle of a conference season where they're trying to win a conference championship. But because they have such a large contingent of veterans there, shoot, my family's gonna kill me. It's not Fort Rucker, right? Right there in Alabama.
I don't know which one's in Alabama.
Big helicopter base. Somebody in the chat's gonna know this. I mean, we got like thousands of people watching. Anyway. So the AD scheduled it because, like you get a lot of people to come to the game because it's Army. Obviously, Army draws, and they shut him down completely. And they also shut him down pretty good the last time they played him up at West Point. So there's no 4.5s, right? Lay the 5.
So we got ourselves a little middle.
It is Rucker. Yes. Okay, it's Rucker. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Fort Rucker. All right, love it. We got ourselves.
Yeah, there is a 4.5. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
I'll lay 4.5.
Tom, you got a lean on this one?
I lean under. I just feel like the total's a little low for me to want to bet it.
Yep, I hear that. And then also on Friday night, we head out to Albertson Stadium, Smurf Turf in Boise, Idaho for the Mountain West Championship game. UNLV at Boise State. Who's got a lock?
This is an under I'm not afraid to bet. Give me the under 58.5. I think that we saw in the first meeting UNLV has a good plan for Ashton Jeanty to kind of limit his overall explosiveness and keep him from getting the big runs that Boise thrives on. I also think that outdoors in that weather, UNLV's go-go offense might not be so go-go. So give me the under 58.5.
I mean, I got to do it.
You do. I've
been a Boise hater all season long. Give me UNLV. It's a great story when you lose close against a Power 4 team in the Oregon Ducks. But what's better is when you beat 2 of them, and the other one that you take to the brink finishes the season 9-3 in Syracuse. Like, UNLV has had a phenomenal season. I think they get it done. You might hear something later as well, but give me the 4 points on the road.
Give me the 3 points in the first half.
UNLV plus 3 first half?
Plus 3 in the first half, yeah. I I like that. If you guys got huge edges 15 weeks into the season, I'd like to know how, personally. I think we all have a pretty good idea what these teams are, and then it just comes down to like matchups and maybe how you think the game's going to play out, which you could say for any week. But at least maybe through the first month and a half, there's some mystery as to what these teams are. These teams are good teams that have played well the whole year. Like all the teams we're talking about today, at least relative, to their level and to their conference. Is that Banaka?
No, you missed it yesterday.
Is it deer antler spray?
Echinacea golden seal propolis. I don't even know how to pronounce that last one.
Remember deer antler spray? That was a thing for a minute.
Yeah.
In the Bama LSU rematch game in the Dome. Yeah.
How do you keep a team from crossing midfield once? Deer antler spray, baby. Allegedly.
I don't think we need to say allegedly.
So I don't have a lock on this game, but I feel like the UNLV, and I guess I mentioned this in Big Game Breakdown. I feel like UNLV played the perfect game against Boise last time out. So they're either going to be able to copy and paste it, or they're not going to be able to replicate that because they did it in Vegas in Allegiant Stadium. Now they're going to have to do it up in Boise. We'll see. I mean, Barry Odom's awesome. Barry Odom is a really, really good defensive. And this is, but you're asking like big edges. I think you've just got to like plant your flag in like a thought, like just like one sort of angle to this. And if you think that Barry Odom is going to be able to keep Ashton Jeanty to 0 runs of 20 plus yards or more, just like he did the first time these two played. Remember, the long run for Jeanty was just 16. He had just 1 rushing touchdown. It was a little 1-yard plunge. If you limit those explosives, you'll have a chance to, give Haj Malik Williams and Ricky White a chance to win it late, but you also can't give up 6 sacks like you did the first time to Boise's defensive line. So they're going to have to block to give Ricky White time to move the ball down the field. You're going to have to be able to throw it in that Boise weather. If UNLV does that, give them a decent chance to win. But I am wondering if UNLV threw its fastball from a schematic standpoint and wasn't able to get the win.
Point of order of the chat is, so the one thing I hate about doing stuff from the Lauderdale office, and Danny could probably echo this, there are certain tools that I like to use that are blocked, unfortunately, by the firewall here, so I can't see everything at one time. So, like, I can't really pull up spank odds in the Lauderdale office, but the chat lets me know a pretty large U.S. domestic book's got 3.5, so I will take the 3.5. I'm flying blind here.
So it's 3.5 for
first half. Yeah.
For the first half.
For first half, yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. That is Friday. And coming up on the other side, we turn our attention to Saturday's conference championship games and more next. And now it's time for the player to watch, brought to you by Microsoft Copilot Plus PCs, powered by Snapdragon. In this segment, we'll identify a player that exemplifies the speed, intelligence, or battery found in every Copilot Plus PC, and who else represents those qualities like Arizona State running back Cam Skattebo. You look at Arizona State's offense, he is the most dynamic part of it. He is Arizona State's reason for being able to be up in the Big 12 championship game and have a shot at the college football playoff. He's got an incredible drive. He's a great competitor, and you just love watching him play. Tom, we have been on the Cam Skattebo bandwagon for quite some time now. What have you seen from him so far this season, and also what are you expecting to see on Saturday?
He's relentless. Like, that they're going to give him the ball time and time again because he is the offense, but he does not wear down. He wears the opponent down every single week. He's one of the best running backs in the country, and I expect you will see, with the Big 12 title on the line, Arizona State is once again going to turn to the man who has led them all season long, Cam Skattebo.
And that was the Player to Watch segment, brought to you by Microsoft Copilot Plus PCs. Whether you're multitasking like never before, working far from power outlets, or sketching your own ideas into existence, you can do it with the new Microsoft Copilot Plus PCs powered by Snapdragon. Battery life varies by device and with usage and settings. So let's get into it. That game right there, Jerry World, noon Eastern time on Saturday. Arizona State and Iowa State. Who's got a lock? I do.
What you got?
Sure.
I'm going to take Iowa State.
Plus 2.5.
Yeah. I mean, I think they win. I mean, this is something that when you're taking these, I don't know if this is the way that y'all approach this, but when we're looking at these conference championship games and especially at these conference championship lines, I don't find myself doing a lot of like, I don't know, like they might cover, but they might not win. Like whoever you're taking, you got to feel confident that they're going to go and win the football game. And so as I was breaking this down, I do think that the loss of Tyson, your 1,000-yard receiver, is going to be big for Arizona State's offense. Rocco Becht, legacy game incoming. Why? Because while Arizona State is down its 1,000-yard receiver, you know who has 2 1,000-yard receivers in the offense right now? Oh, yeah. It's Iowa State. And so whether it is Higgins or Noel, how they are able to stress a defense in some of these games, and I'll probably bring this up a little bit later too in other conference championship games. I want to know when you got to go get a score, like, do you have the ability to go and get it? And I think that if you sell out to stop Scatteraboo, then maybe you can limit Arizona State on that got to have it drive. But I think that between Rocco Becht, his own ability and playmaking, and also having 2 really, really dynamic wide receivers, I feel like Arizona State's got a few more options. And I will take those options. I think that Iowa State wins it and wins the Big 12. I'll go Cyclones plus the 2.5.
I forgot to bring a coin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip my USGA card. All right. If it's the side with my name on it, I'm going to go with Arizona State. If it's the side with the logo on it, I'm going to go with Iowa State. Arizona State, fight.
Okay.
Fight.
Listen, I just have utmost confidence in Arizona State. The card never lies. Cam Scatterbo is going to run all over the Cyclones. Let's go, Sun Devils. Forks up.
Do you guys want a update on the QB for Jack State?
Yeah. What do you got?
My guy said he'd be surprised if he doesn't at least give it a go.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what it's an ankle. Like, let's go. Shoot that thing up. Do whatever you got to do. I mean, come on. You don't even want to feel that thing.
Conference USA title game, Jacksonville, Alabama, brought to you by Toradol.
And I know he left the game, but he left the game because they didn't need him to play last week.
Oh, by the way, I forgot. I'm also on the under in this game. My bad.
Let the children sing on the under.
Okay.
All right.
You're talking about all this because I do worry about the Jordan Tyson injury. If he doesn't go, that does make them extremely one-dimensional. We covered that on the big game breakdown about how there's not many options at receiver. Cam Scatteraboo is the entire offense. And I know Iowa State's defense has not been great against the rush, but it makes it a lot easier to defend the rush when you don't have to worry about getting passed against. But I also think Arizona State, I mentioned this as well, I think their defense is probably one of the things that's been a big key for their turnaround, even though we spent so much time talking about their offense. I think their defense is able to shut down or at least contain Iowa State's offense somewhat. So I'll take the under as well.
Also, completely useless trend, but one that certainly supports Danny and I. There have been 7 Big 12 championship games in the current format, under 6-1.
Hey, and do you know what the one is? I can tell you. It was TCU, Kansas State.
There we go. Yep.
Oh,
the one that went to overtime. And you know what?
Did it hit the overtime before?
No.
Did it hit the over before overtime?
It hit the over on the game tying score. It was like a something and a half, and then it hit it on the game tying score. I will remember that one for a long time. No reason, just a cursed week, just yeah. So yeah, that is the one. You think about the Oklahoma State Baylor game, close, competitive, low scoring. Last year, Texas kind of flirted with getting the overdone themselves. Oklahoma State couldn't do anything. That one goes under as well. You think Big 12, Jerry World, like it's going to be touchdowns, but history has said otherwise. Great point, Tom. I'm glad you brought that one up. But you got a lean or sort of a read on this game if you don't have a lock?
I actually kind of leaned over because I feel like Iowa State's passing game is so much better than its run game. But last week he did a nice job, albeit with a positive game state against K-State, but did a nice job against Avery Johnson. Like if they have neutral game state, I know they got a little bit healthier at linebacker. Does that mean that like would they have defended it quite as well? I don't know. Probably not, right? It's nice to play a mobile quarterback when you're up a bunch because you don't have to worry about his legs quite as much. But I kind of lean over because I do think that Iowa State is one of the best passing games that Arizona State will have seen so far this year.
Okay. Also at noon Eastern time, up in Ford Field in Detroit, it's Ohio and Miami, Ohio. Baby, get quarterbacks throwing vases. Get ready. This is how it goes. We've got who's got a lock on the MAC title game?
I do not. I love both of these teams, and I don't want to root against either one.
I have a lock on Miami, Ohio, because in the same way that I looked at the Chuck Martin against Bowling Green, sort of just the history of, does he have a good plan to be able to make them uncomfortable, stop what they want to do? Ohio's worst game of the season was against Miami earlier this year. So I just think it's one of those. Chuck Martin's got the leg up. I'll take Miami, Ohio. I guess 2.5 is what I'm laying. But yeah, I'll take them. I'll lay the points. I think they end up winning the MAC title.
I will take the 3 with Ohio because I think this Ohio team might be magic.
Fight, 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 fight.
I don't want to get away with this Ohio team. Like they just seem like they have something special going on.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay.
Also, I made the game too. So
it's just not often that I drift Bud over into Vibes County. So that means he's either coming across county lines or he's got something logged way back in there. He's not ready to unfurl yet until we get to
it ain't that on this one.
All right. Well, welcome to Vibes County. I appreciate it. Enjoy our fight.
I'll go under. Even though it has these stellar quarterback matchup of Parker Navarro versus Brett Gabbert. They do strike fear in opposing defenses, but these are two of the better defenses that we've seen. We talked about rematches earlier. I think this would be a defensive slugfest, so I'll go under 44.5.
Yep.
Wait, isn't this the game that Navarro got hurt in the first time they played?
Yes.
Ooh.
Okay. Because he was their leading rusher. All right.
Do you know Parker Navarro is Dave Navarro's son?
Dave Navarro had many sons. Many sons had Dave Navarro.
You're joking though, right? That's not for real.
I'm dead serious.
Really? Is
Yeah.
he a fan of Cover 3?
I don't know. He's not his son either. I'm just.
Well, would you believe that Dave Navarro had a lot of sons?
I mean, yes. God, yeah. he's got a son at every school, boys.
I like that. Yeah, I'll stay. I'll let you rock with that one. But Danny, consider me. I'm with you on that under. I feel like that's sweating a MAC under on conference championship Saturday in the noon window is just is comfy and cozy and just a great place to be. All right, that takes us on into the midday Atlanta, Georgia for Georgia and Texas. It's the SEC championship game. Who's got a lock?
Georgia plus 2.5. I don't know if you guys remember, but these two teams met earlier this season in Austin. And despite turning the ball over 75 times, Georgia still won by 15. So Georgia plus 2.5.
When I say this lock, I mean, Danny, I need to wait for you to finish because I don't want you to spit out on your computer. First half under 25.5. Okay. I really think that this is the 9th first half under in the SEC game of the week that I've had this season. They don't all hit, but man, with these two teams, with these two defenses, and with the way that I expect both of these coaches to approach it, I like it once again. So I will be on the first half under 25.5.
Point of correction, I can get 3 on Georgia, so that's what I'm taking.
Ooh.
Anybody else?
I've got a funny lean, but I want to let's get the locks out of the way if there's other locks on the game.
I kind of lean over, not enough to bet it, but I just feel like there were some points left on the board in the first meeting that won't be left on the board the second time.
Yeah, I kind of like Texas.
Are you going to lock it up?
Should I lock it up? Last one of the year. Yeah. Give me Texas.
All right, let's go.
Fight.
I think the right side of the O-line is getting a little bit better. A little bit worried about the left side of the O-line. Georgia doesn't look amazing to me. A lot of stuff went right for Georgia in that game to start. And Georgia earned it. They earned the stuff to go right for them. But I'm not sure that it plays out the exact same way. I mean, that one ball Carson Beck threw ended up being beautiful, but it's like inches from being picked, and just the margins. Georgia has not really looked like they're improving a lot down the stretch. Texas does. And I know it's against a non-Lagway Florida team, and it's against a Kentucky team that was basically quitting on the season. But A&M doesn't suck, and they controlled that game fairly well. So I'm going to go and lay it here with Texas.
Danny?
I'll lay it with Texas too.
All right.
I'm kind of excited to see what Sark comes up with Arch Manning. I mean, we were surprised when he came off the bench when Quinn Ewers got benched. Now I think he's a part of the game plan. I think he sprinkled in just enough run to kind of showcase a couple things. I think you might even see him throw it in this game against Georgia. They got to find a way to create offense. We've got one of the better offensive minds. We just saw Georgia's defense get torched by Georgia Tech. I think Texas will figure out a way to put up points.
Okay, now that all the serious talk is out of the way, I can uncork one of my dumbest thoughts possible. Okay, this is called the Mia Hamm theorem. Okay, now for those of you that have maybe been around, what?
Where did she go to school?
Carolina.
Yeah, but this has less to do with North Carolina. So,
all right,
in 1997, there was an iconic Gatorade ad. Anything you can do, I can do better. Michael Jordan, Mia Hamm, each going back and forth. I think Steve Sarkisian's using Arch to get better play out of Quinn. I think it is not lost on me that after Arch runs for the touchdown, Quinn comes back in and starts balling. And if I was Steve Sarkisian with the Mia Hamm theorem, Quinn Ewers is going to play his best football as long as I keep going to Arch Manning. So on the Mia Hamm theorem, I do lean Texas with the idea that you get the best out of Quinn Ewers by challenging him and daring him with a little bit of Arch. So I'm not going to throw it down as a lock, but under the Mia Hamm principle, the Mia Hamm theorem, I'm going to say anything you can do, I can do better, gets the most out of both of those quarterbacks.
Was Quinn Ewers balling last week?
He had that one drive that where all of a sudden we're like, where did that running come from? I thought his little ankle was hurt, and he's just sprinting down the sideline like everything's good. I mean, just, pain is mental when you got Arch breathing down your back.
I mean, 17-28, 7.8 an attempt, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Balling. All right.
Well, how much per rushing attempt?
Per rushing attempt, he averaged 7.25.
That's pretty. That would probably lead the SEC, in my opinion. How much do you think Sark was watching that Georgia game and be like, no?
Oh, watching Haynes King,
we like motion. We got a guy who can run a little bit. Let's make Georgia prep for this.
Yep, I like it. All right, then. Also, sort of in a middle window before we get to the primetime slate, we got Marshall traveling to go play Louisiana. Who's got a lock? Wham! With the Cajuns. Yeah.
Charles
You know,
Huff is
Huff wants to
busy.
come out on top.
Yeah, I look, Michael DeSormo had a great conversation with like really one of the best college sports radio hosts around, you know? Yeah, I got to hear, you know, what the way that he's framing this, you know, there's coaches out there firing off tweets. There's ADs out here firing off tweets. You know whose mind is just set on trying to win the Sun Belt Championship? You know whose mind definitely ain't set on trying to take any other jobs? Somebody who is right at home, in his skin, in his shoes, as Louisiana head coach Michael DeSormo. Danny, I thought it was a great conversation, and it took what I already felt as a confident side, you know, take the Charles Huff side, take the fact that I just think Louisiana has been a better football team than Marshall all year long. They're playing at home. I like this. I lay the 5.5, and I don't really think twice about it.
I'm on the under here, 56.5. Just strictly a numbers play. This is like, to me, this is the biggest edge I have all week on any of these lines, and it's huge. It's a whole like 2.25.
It's a 3.2 points.
It's 2.25.
Nobody else.
I like it. I like Louisiana too. I don't know. I like it. Let's lock it up. Why not? Let the children sing, Chip. Let's go. He was really good. He was a good guess. That's why I'm going with him. He's won with multiple quarterbacks this year. He's going with a backup. They're balanced. I do think they're the better team.
I mean, that's the job that he wants, you know?
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna. Never mind. We save that for another conversation. We got some more championship games to go, in addition to our money line sprinkles and more. All right. Then we get into the night slate. Let's start in Charlotte with Clemson and SMU. Who's got a lock? Okay, Bud.
Clemson first quarter plus a half.
Yes.
Is that music? I don't know. I don't have much sick this week.
I
don't want to force it.
Yeah. No,
I say that's a music.
Okay, all right. Okay. I guess so. If everybody,
It's time for sicko mode. Let's go. I'm a little bit lower on some of the teams in the bottom of the Sun Belt. If things go wrong, they could be like UMass UConn. That's kind of like sicko mode of a sicko mode.
All right. Why not? Charity.
I plug this into my system. It comes out as a bet. I think that Clemson has a pretty good shot to keep this close. I also think that you could have a kind of a run-heavy script early on in this game. SMU has a nice pass rush, and obviously Clemson's rush defense has been an issue in this one. So I could see a real run-heavy script early, which could drain the clock. I also like to bet these because teams don't hurry up and try to score at the end of the first quarter, unlike the first half. So that's why I very rarely lay points in the first quarter. So especially if they are, competitive games. So Clemson first quarter plus a half.
Plus a half. So we're 0-0 obviously is a winner. 7-7.
3-3.
3-3. Yep. I'll just go ahead and take it. CLEMSO. And plus the 2.5. I think they win the game. I think that this will be one of the toughest defenses that Kevin Jennings and SMU have had to play all year long. I thought they did a really good job against South Carolina just last week. And to play like one of our favorite games, like, so let's say Cade Klubnik doesn't throw an interception, they kick a field goal and win that ball game, or send it to overtime. Let's say they win that ball game. Like, what do you think this spread is different?
No.
Possibly.
Not much.
I think Clemson is very live to win this game, and I think that Cade Klubnik's legs, when the offense has not hit its ceiling often this year, but I do think that the ceiling of this Clemson offense is to be able to spring enough explosive plays to then ride the defense on to victory. So I'll take Clemson plus the 2.5.
I have a lock agreement with you on the Clemson plus 2.5.
Yay!
And I am also, because this is kind of just game script, if I think Clemson is going to win, I feel like it's better chance to be an under. Whereas if I feel like if SMU's better hopes are if this game goes over and it gets to be like a shootout-y type of game. So I'm on Clemson plus 2.5 and the under 57.
I'll take Clemson as well for 2.5. You know, we were talking about Ohio State, who's going to probably host a home game, and it's like the vibes are going to be awful. Like people are going to be booing. It's like, oh, like they have to get this thing back up. Clemson, think about where they are emotionally, where they thought their season was done when that game goes final. They are devastated. And then Fran Brown gives them the best Christmas gift ever by delivering a win on a silver platter, which all of a sudden keeps their postseason hopes alive. I think the vibes are going to be high for Clemson. Dabo's already talking about being the first team that, you know, with 3 losses to win a national title because he was the first team to go 15-0. He's ready to throw it in everybody's face. I don't know if we're going to go that far, but Charlotte, really pretty good home field advantage for them. And I do think their defense is really good. And I'm with you, Chip. I think Cade Klubnik's legs are the difference.
All right.
I feel like that stadium plays like weirdly cold this time of year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's
like it's like damp. It's I don't know how to describe. Chip, you live there.
Well, I don't live in Charlotte. We discussed.
Don't insult Chip like that.
That's right.
But like in North Carolina, I feel like it's. You don't think North Carolina is like a cold place, but like being in there at stadium a couple times, it's really cold at field level.
Well, yeah, it's you know, the where the city is. When the sun sets, it gets really, really cold. And you're right, it does. It is kind of like damp, and it's been wet for a lot of ACC championship games. You might catch like a little stray shower in there. It does play cold for sure. All right, and then. The Big Ten championship game on CBS. It is 8 p.m. Eastern time. You can watch it on America's Most Watched Network, the Network of Stars. You can stream it on Paramount Plus, a mountain of entertainment. It is Oregon against Penn State in Lucas Oil Stadium. So, who's got a lock?
Let's hear it.
Why do I get started? Do you want me to?
Fine, I'll start.
Yeah.
Penn State plus a half first quarter. Going back to the well here.
Okay.
I think that there's a chance they could hit an early score on Oregon. I also think like their defense could get some early stops against Oregon. And I don't know that Oregon's going to start super fast. Oregon at times this year has started fast, but they've also come out of the gate slow in some games as well. And here with this total, I like this. So, yeah.
It's fantastic.
It's a really good D line too.
Well, I don't know if this counts as a fight, but give me Oregon minus 3.5.
Okay, it's not a fight on the first quarter. That is 100% not a fight on the first quarter.
Not a fight.
But I tell you what, there is. Oh, Tom, you go ahead with your thoughts.
Listen, for me, more than anything, like I do think this is going to be a good close game. I don't expect it to be a blowout for Oregon by any stretch of the imagination. It's just with Penn State, these games, same situation as we were in earlier this year with Ole Miss. Show me. I'm not going to pick you to do it until you show me you can. That's really all it comes down to.
Okay. Well, first of all, I will take the Ducks. I will lay the 3.5. And I go back to, kind of what I mentioned with Iowa State. Which of these offenses do you trust to get up and go get a score? Like when whether it's you're bleeding out a little bit, or the other team's taking the lead, or they've just cut into a lead, and you can feel things start to shift in terms of the leverage of the competition. The other team is getting some confidence. And when you send your offense out onto the field and break the huddle, which of these two teams, which of these two quarterbacks do you feel the most confident in? They're going to be able to march down the field and score. And for me, that answer is Oregon, and that answer is Oregon pretty confidently. And I think it will be, Tom, like you mentioned, a very fun, close, competitive game. Penn State could lead by a little bit. Oregon could, find itself up and then having to defend it. Like, there's a lot of different ways. The 3.5 is an absolute sweat, but I feel very confident that an Oregon offense that has shown throughout the entire season against different styles of defense, against different calibers of defense, that when the gotta have it drive is on the table, Wisconsin is the only time I can think of where they weren't able to really reach down and grab that. And so I think that especially with what we saw against Washington, they came out refreshed, rejuvenated. Tez Johnson's back on the field. I think the Ducks offense, Dylan Gabriel, is the difference maker. I trust that group more. Give me Oregon minus the 3.5.
Yeah. And like you mentioned, like the Tez Johnson return, it's also like, whose receivers do you trust the most in this game to make a play?
Oregon. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Under.
Oh,
don't hate that. Don't hate it.
Because the O-line injury?
What's that? Yeah, I think Penn State's defensive line could frustrate, the Oregon offense. I think they could, get to Dylan Gabriel. I don't think he's going to make mistakes. Like, I'm not too worried about pick sixes from him. And I don't trust, I know Penn State's offense has been better, but I think Oregon's defensive front with Jordan Birch back, I think it'll do more of the same. I think this will be a lower scoring game.
I can rock with that for sure. All right. Coming up on the other side, recapping our championship week locks and our championship week money line sprinkles. Next.
CBS Sports HQ, giving you college football coverage unlike anyone else.
We're talking Big Ten.
Pre- and post-game coverage.
Are you encouraged with the way that this team responded?
Along with breaking news.
A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
Highlights and expert analysis.
That streak could be in jeopardy here.
Sure. What was your main takeaway from this game? How impressive was his domination?
That really changed the football game.
Let's go ahead and have some more fun.
Another wild ending.
The chaos continues.
Turn to CBS Sports HQ.
Back here on the Cover 3 podcast, let's take a look at what we've got for championship week locks. Bud is on. Tulane minus 4.5, UNLV first half plus 3.5, Clemson first quarter plus 0.5 point, Ohio plus 3, Texas minus 2.5, Penn State first quarter plus 0.5 point. Chips got Army plus 2.5, Army Tulane under 46.5, Iowa State plus 2.5, Miami, Ohio minus 2.5, Georgia, Texas first half under 25.5, Louisiana minus 5.5, Clemson plus 2.5, Oregon minus 3.5. Danny's on. Jacksonville State minus 3.5. Army Tulane under 46.5. UNLV plus 4. Iowa State, Arizona State under 51. Texas minus 2.5. Louisiana minus 5.5. Clemson plus 2.5. Ohio, Miami, Ohio under 44.5. Penn State, Oregon under 50. And Tom Scott. Jacksonville State, Western Kentucky under 58. Boise at UNLV under 58.5. Arizona State minus 2. Iowa State, Arizona State under 51. Georgia plus 3. Marshall, Louisiana under 56.5. Clemson plus 2.5. Oregon minus 3.5. And the Clemson-SMU under 57. And this Moneyline Sprinkles segment is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. All right, last week on the sprinkling, Bud could not get home with Fresno, Auburn, West Virginia, or Nevada. It's another goose egg for Chip as well. We got Kansas State, App State, Virginia. Could not get it done. Danny brought home the bacon with Baylor plus 110, but couldn't do it with USC, Oklahoma, or Kentucky. And Tom, oh, baby, our sprinkle king was in his bag. Miami, Ohio, plus 110. Minnesota, plus 120. Rutgers, plus 106. Only Arkansas, plus 140, does not come home. That means that heading into our final week of sprinkling, Tom is in first place, 27-30 record, up 12.69 units. I'm in second, 15-28, up 4.2 units. Bud in third place, 11-29, down just 2.3 units. Danny, 15-42, down 20.95 units. Tom, what we sprinkling?
Limited card this week.
Obviously.
Give me Army straight up, 185. And then, Chip, you mentioned it earlier. A lot of these games, if you think the team's going to cover, they usually win too. So give me Georgia plus 125 and Clemson plus 120.
All right. So you had Clemson, Army, and
Georgia.
Mm-hmm. I've got Clemson, Army, and Iowa State as my sprinkles.
Okay.
Bud?
Give me Western Kentucky.
Ooh. All right.
Just a feel.
Danny?
Give me UNLV.
Yeah. I mean, come on, man. You got to.
Plus 160. And I'll take Penn State. So this is one of those things like Dan Lanning is such a good motivator. I mean, some of his motivational videos have been awesome, showing his lead up. He gets his team up so much. I just wonder if it means more to Penn State. They come in. It's such a big game for them. The Big Ten championship means so much. I do think they've been tested more. We'll see.
Did you think that the sledgehammer to the helmet was corny or cool?
Oh, the whole speech with the Inglorious Bastards, and then they gave him the bat that he comes out there.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for that.
Well, it's so funny because he is he's referencing things that some of the kids haven't even seen.
Right.
Like, going into the Michigan game, he was doing the big Gladiator references.
Right.
Movie from 1999. The kids haven't seen that. We're like, oh, great, a Gladiator reference. Who's ever heard that? The kids haven't. So, it's kind of funny to see those pop culture callbacks that he's pulling out that are throwback. They're certainly not as much. So, the Moneyline sprinkles, Tom has got Army plus 185, Georgia plus 125, Clemson plus 120. Danny has UNLV plus 165, Penn State plus 160. I've got Army plus 185, Iowa State plus 116, Clemson plus 160, and Bud has Western Kentucky plus 160. And that Moneyline sprinkles segment has been brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more.
That's shortest lock spot of the season by far.
Well, I mean, we still went 62 minutes. I guess we had to promote which, by the way, QR code still there on the screen so that you can RSVP for the live show in Fort Worth on January 9th. Make sure that you hit that link if you're in the episode description. If you're listening to this a little bit later, we'd love to see you come to the Cover 3 Tailgate Live. Bud, we will be doing our National Signing Day recap at 5:15 p.m. Eastern Time here on youtube.com/cover3. And then watch us on CBS Sports Network, noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday. We'll be live from Lucas Oil Stadium. By the way, it was pointed out by the tailgate, there was not a single over.
It's got to be a record.
Yeah.
Right?
I win.
What? Why?
Because I've been fighting the fight against overs for years on this show.
I'm glad that you've finally won everybody over. There was also some comment like, what's the plan for bowl games? That will be us taking them as they come. Like, we will do sort of big previews and best bets for the college football playoff games, but with the transfer portal, with opt-outs, with all of the chaos that is involved with those bowl games. It will be very much day before. We will take a slice out of every single episode during the bowl season to give you our latest, most up-to-the-minute bets. So this does wrap up the formal lock season, and we'll see how all the numbers shake out once we get done with championship weekend. And you can follow him on Twitter at Tom Fornelli. You can follow him at Bud Elliott3. You can follow him at Danny Cannell. You can follow me at Chip_Patterson. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
See ya.